Hi, hope you're well. You know, job hunting can be a nerve wracking experience. It's something that can be most depressing sometimes as well. We have to go through the entire process of working on the resume, making sure it's perfect, going for an interview, going for uh, from one company to other. And after doing so many interviews and after going for so many trials, if you're lucky, we may get one of the callback. So, while all of this is good and it does take some hard work, it does take some strategy. You know, no matter how experienced we may be, everybody makes mistakes. Whether you are a student or someone with experience or just a fresher who is now looking for a job, it doesn't matter based on your status. Everybody makes few mistakes. And in today's topic, I want to share with you five biggest mistakes we make in an interview which can be avoided. So let's get started. Number one, lack of preparation. Sounds pretty simple, but it goes very deep. Number one is lack of preparation in terms of your research about the company. Sometimes it happens that we tend to feel so overconfident because you may have heard of a company and you are going for that interview just as a hunch. Even then, it's important to research about what the company is, what its achievements are. And you know what? If you have already done the research, at least gone to the website of the company and looked around, see what the success stories are and what are the priorities for this company, all of that, you will have some topics to talk about. And in my personal experience, every time someone had come in an interview where I was taking the interview, where every time I met that candidate where they had something to talk about the company, I would really sit, I would just keep the resume aside, sit and listen to them. This is how you catch the attention of the interviewer. So make sure to research the organization, the company that you're going for. And then failure to anticipate the interview common questions. Sometimes it happens just in a hurry to prepare so many things for the interview, we have no time to prepare or at least assume what kind of questions that can be asked during an interview, and that results in fumbling or not giving the appropriate answer for the most common questions, be it tell me about yourself, be it where do you see yourself in next 5 years, or as simple as that, what interests you in this organization. If you do not prepare and think it through, there's a high chance your answer to these simple questions would not be impressive, and that costs us, many of the candidates, their job. So make sure to think through the questions. At least in your mind, know that this question has to be answered. Even if you are super prepared and you are, someone with a lot of experience, even then, give a few minutes to this thought. And one more item in preparation which can go wrong is neglecting the practice of any behavior question you may be asked. Behavioral questions are asked to all the candidates in order to assess your past experience and your past behavior. If you are applying for, let's say, a job of a manager and you have been managing a couple of teams, let's say, before, these kind of questions are most expected, only and only to assess how you have dealt with your organization, with your team, and are you the right candidate for who can fit in the culture of this organization that you're applying for. So, neglecting this kind of question just by thinking that why do I need to practice this? This is common sense. Sometimes people say this is common sense and not end up practicing. It costs a lot in terms of your performance in the interview. So make sure to never go in an interview without preparation. One tip that I want to give you is When you're practicing, make sure to do it in the form of a mock interview. Find a friend or a coach who can help you to practice your interview. If you cannot find anybody at all, and if you have, let's say, a child at home, someone who knows how to read and write, so possibly someone who is above 7 years of age, just help them, ask them to sit and ask you the questions, and you will see how nice that experience would be. On top of it, how you will be able to see the mistakes that you are making. Trust me, if you can convince a child with your answer, you can convince anybody. Number two, poor body language. When you're going for an interview, be it virtual, a video conference, or an in person, especially in person, your body language speaks more than a million words compared to what you will speak. And if your body language is not aligned with what you're saying, that's the biggest mistake one can make. And it costs putting an impression, making an impression during an interview. What the body language really comprises of, let me just give you a few of those. First one is eye contact. Did you know that more than 40% of Gen Z are rejected from an interview when they go there because of lack of eye contact? The reason behind that, of course, the candidate themselves would know, but these are the facts that are already there. Eye contact has to be soft, positive, not staring, not stern. At the same time, do not avoid making eye contact, especially if you are in the virtual interview. Talking to people, looking at the camera, is it takes practice. So make sure to get familiarized with the camera before you open up for the interview in a video conference. And then the biggest mistake of body language mistake is slouching or fidgeting. Slouching is like this: you're coming out, ahead, and all of a sudden, the body, basically you have no control on your body. That just shows that if you don't have control on your body, how you will behave during an interview, how would you have the control on the other challenging task that will be given to you during the job that you have come here for? Makes sense, right? Same goes for fidgeting. Irrespective of how nervous you may be, make sure that your body is in control, is in your control, not you in the control of your body. And another thing is handshake. Though after COVID, handshake is usually avoided in an in person interview, and this applies only to an in person interview. However, if in case there's a handshake involved, when you meet someone, make sure it's firm, not too overwhelming and not too exaggerating, not to break someone's hand. At the same time, showcasing that you are strong in yourself. It talks volumes about you as a candidate. A tip about body language: make sure to record yourself as a mock interview. If you're doing a mock interview, be it with a child, be with a friend, a coach, or just by yourself. If you're recording, let's say yourself over the phone, do it and then watch yourself and see how your body really reacts to a certain nuances than when you're talking. And once you have seen, then you know where to improve. Number three, overlooking soft skills. Your technical skills, be it your BTech, BA, BCom, or masters or any certifications, these are all just qualifiers. They just make you eligible to be selected to be called for an interview. During an interview, especially the in person and the virtual, the video conference, your soft skills are judged and marked. You are marked upon those soft skills. Many candidates, and I have observed this myself firsthand, many candidates are so aware of what certification they may have done, but when it comes to speaking about it, when it comes to explaining it or striking a conversation about the project they may have done, they tend to go mum. So make sure to not ignore the soft skills. Your effective communication skills are the key to clearing any interview. And what does that involve? That brings us to number 4: too much talking or not talking too much. Either of the extreme situation in an interview is not good. You got to understand when you are rambling over, or when you are not responding the way you are expected to. So make sure to practice. Again, practice is the key. Especially make 20 to 25 questions, minimum 20 to 25 questions, write down the answers for it, and then practice. Speak it out loud. Okay? Anybody who tells you it's okay, just wing it, just, go on the spur of the moment, is not giving you the right advice. If someone tells you, oh, you've got it all and you're gonna ace it, and you have it in your control, and you listen to it and go without preparation to an interview, I'm sorry, in that case the result of the interview would be your responsibility, not that person's, because you chose to listen to it. My recommendation to you is write down the questions, write down the answers, and then practice it. Speak it out loud. Writing is very important. People who tend to these days think that, speaking in on the spur of the moment, speaking just in the flow, it comes without practice. They're not telling you the truth. It all comes with practice. Write down in a notepad or take soft notes. Make sure that you do not use the words that you cannot pronounce. If you can't even speak up the words, what's the point of writing those in your notepad? Make sure to pay very close attention to the interviewer. Failure to listen actively can turn into a tricky situation in an interview. If if you have something going on in your mind and the interviewer is actually asking you some question, and you tend to not pay attention, your answer would not be appropriate. As simple as that. So pay attention, pay focus, and listen actively. Active listening means being genuinely present there in that conversation to really strike the conversation and get a result out of it. Make sure when you are listening to the interviewer, if you have access to a notepad and pen at that time, maybe write down couple of words. If you don't, it's all right. But let me give you a technique. Here's what I do, and this works for me really well. When someone is speaking something and I have no access to write down something, and I still want to be memorizing what they said so that I can make a good response for it. When they are speaking, I use my fingertips just towards myself. I'll just use it like this. Okay, one, two, three, four. All right, there are four main topics that the person is really looking for. Okay, now they are eager to know the answer. They are angry because of a situation. They would really like a solution. All of this, I just use my fingertips to remind myself, take mental notes. You cannot take physical notes, take mental notes, and it works brilliantly. Try it out and let me know how it worked for you. And lastly, number 5: neglecting the follow up. If you have gone for an interview and not sent a thank you note, especially after the virtual interview, video conference, because that's where you have an access to the email address of human resources or the hiring manager. Make sure to write a proper thank you note with by showing some gratitude and the opportunity for the interview. Also share some information again about your qualities, your skills, and even more important, to politely say that how you are looking forward to the feedback from them and how much it will help you to grow in future. That's it. That is how the thank you note and the follow up should be, and it should be done promptly. Many people, what they do is, the interview is done. Okay, now it's company's job to decide whether they want to take me or not. I am the big person. If they want me, they will take me. Sure, you are the big person, but how would the company know if you are the big person unless they have heard from you? Make sense? If it makes sense, give me a make sense in the comments. Going through the interview process can be very tricky, very challenging, and overwhelming on ourselves. I want to make it easy for you, and that's why make sure to avoid and do not make these five mistakes that I've just shared with you. If you will avoid these five mistakes, you will see that your experience of going for an interview will be flawless, and you will also become a memorable candidate for the interviewer. In the comments below, share with me what are the practices that you make sure to follow before going for an interview, and have you learned anything new in these five practices that I've told you? Let me know. This is Monica Jaswal from Career Growth Hub signing off. Until we meet again, keep moving forward in your career. Thank you.